think. Hello and welcome once again, darlings. This is going to be another Icebreakers. This time we don't have guests because it's an off-topic one, but we're going to be hanging out with my good friend Sylvia from Norway. Hello.
Hey.
And Kim from, I realize I'm pointing, I don't know if it makes sense on your screen, but Kim from Sweden. Well,
Hello.
in Scotland, you know.
Yes.
Close enough, isn't it? Starts with the same letter. And today we're going to be talking about Donut County, as you might have guessed from the all the artwork and all the marketing material. And yeah, what is Donut County is a good question. And I think pictures speak more than words. So let's have a look at the trailer and see what it looks like. I guess roll the trailer, I suppose. Wonderful. So that's Donut County, very kind of a interesting indie game. And before we get to talk about the game, I think it makes sense to describe the game a little bit, about the genre, about how the game came to be, maybe a little bit about the dev of the game, because why not? And then maybe, I don't know, we'll talk about how we felt about it. But anyway, that's not on me. That is on our beautiful little Swede, Kim. You want to tell us a little bit about this genre?
Yeah. So I came into this like thinking that I knew a bit about the story, and then I realized that I got it backwards. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what the genre is, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about a controversy that came out of the development of the game. Which is really interesting, hopefully. But so, Donut County is part of a very niche genre that probably everyone has played, called physics puzzle games, right? And so basically the history of the genre, for me personally, starts with Angry Birds. And so it's in that kind of sphere where you're using physics to solve a puzzle. And in Angry Birds, it would be to be able to defeat all the pigs, right? And you have different levels where you try to do that in different ways. The difference here in Donut County is that the puzzle sort of comes out of the order that you do things. So you have this hole where you're letting it grow and things are falling in, and they have to fall in the right order. But realistically, it's the same sort of space. However, this genre is full of games, and I'm not going to list all of them because there's like a bajillion. Like, there's a lot of games that are puzzle physics games, but they all kind of have their own little path through it, using physics in different ways, and still like creating puzzle games that you can talk about in the same sort of manner, like I just did with Angry Birds. Like, I know Angry Birds is a very different game, but the root of it is that we need physics and puzzles. How do we put that together? And it's honestly a lot of fun to make these games as well. So that's basically where the story that I read, and I don't know that it's true anymore, but I like the story, so I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Is that this
Please
is like
do. That sounds interesting.
Well, so the reason I don't think it's true is because I can't find the source again. But I did find a source like a while ago, talking about game jams, and that like made sense to me at the time. So I think I've just appropriated that this like came up as a game jam game, and then continued onwards. So I apologize, but I didn't find actually what the truth is. However, let's say that it was a game jam thing.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, okay?
Exactly.
Let's go.
So
I wanna
let's
hear-
just
let's
let's
go.
leave it at that. But
You
so
got it. It's the truth, right?
Yeah.
it's the truth. But so let's go with that. It started
Oh, true.
with a game jam, and then if I'm lying, I'm lying, basically. And so, but I won't dwell on that too much either. I do want to move on to like the conversation about the controversy. So here's somewhere where I was completely wrong again, but you know, you learn something every day. So there is this other project that's slightly different, but kind of similar in that you use a hole to suck things up, and the hole grows bigger, called hole.io. And you may have heard of it, you might have played it even. So what happened was this donut counter got released in 2018, and not long after, like the same year, Hole.io came out as a online multiplayer game, like a battle royale, where you did the exact same thing as in Donut County, just excluding the story and the characters, basically just the mechanic itself. And it was like a big deal that it was a complete rip-off and clone of this amazing like indie game, used to just like it's the I won't name the name of the company, but if you look it up yourself, you are allowed to do so. Like I don't want to be that much of a dick, but they have like this reputation of basically stealing ideas from indies, and so that kind of unraveled when the creator of Donut County, Ben Esposito, among others, but I don't have the full list in front of me. But when he kind of really like was outspoken about this and talking about like how this is just a shame that he was coming up with these ideas, and some other company could just come and steal it and totally appropriate his mechanics. So there is a huge discussion to be had here about like, do you own your mechanics if they're simple enough that anyone could have made them? But we can have that discussion a little bit if we want to, because it can be tense. But that's basically all I have to say about that part, really. So moving on from there, we could talk a little bit about Ben Esposito, and I think Sylvia has something to say about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we were talking about, or when we were talking together before this stream about what game we'd like to play through together, at least at some point. This was a game that we all felt was very interesting for all of us. And what's very fascinating to me is that it's a single man that made this game. I mean, like one person, not sorry, that came out in the wrong way. But I meant that it was one man team that made this game, and that was Ben Esposito. And I mean, I can't say I know that much about him, but I googled him, I looked him up, and I saw that he's worked on some pretty fabulous games, and I'm so impressed by it. And I mean, he's at the moment, his newest game is Neon White. I mean, he worked as a director on that game, which has gotten a lot of really good feedback these days. I mean, he was the creator of Donut County, but he's also worked in design on What Remains of Edith Finch and The Unfinished Swan, which are quite well-known games, and that's I'm not surprised. They're all a little different from this game, I feel, but it's still exciting. And I was reading on his webpage, because he wrote just a few words, that some of his or what inspired him to create Donut County was actually when he was living in New York. He had a run-in with raccoons constantly in his like backyard or something like that, and I thought that was actually a really funny story about his history, and that it took 6 years for him to develop this game. And I'm wondering, 6 years as a solo dev on this game, that's a lot of work, and I'm quite impressed, at least.
Did you find out, was it like continuous, or is it like between things and here and there?
No,
Like,
all
'cause
I
it's
read
good.
was that it was 6 years of him
Yeah.
working on it.
So I do have some more info on that part.
Oh, yeah?
Because I just got reminded. I'm sorry, I haven't had enough water today. But this is like actually a thing where it did start as something else and was changed like halfway through.
Oh, okay.
So the game itself, like, let's not spoil too much about like the game, how it works, but it takes inspiration from Los Angeles and like the infrastructure there. But it was originally supposed to be about a whole different culture, which I don't remember exactly what it's called, like Hoppy, something like that. But it had like there was something about it. There's a GDC talk, I think, about it
Okay.
that he made in 2015. Yes. So he was talking about the game that wasn't released at that 2015 GDC talk, and that then turned into Donut County. And so there's where I heard the story about like, oh, it started as something else, but no, Donut County itself was actually the tale of another project that was similar but around a different culture than what was actually in the game. That's why it took so long to release.
It sounds like a very classic indie experience. Like, oh yeah, I have this idea, let's work on it. And then 2 years later, like, actually, no, it's a different thing.
We have a developer here in the town where I live who worked on Owlboy, a D-pad studio. They worked on it for 10 years. I mean, they're a little bit of a bigger group. They're like 3, but it was still 10 years, and I think it's a very indie thing. Games don't happen that easy.
Also, I found it interesting. Like, first of all, the raccoon thing. So I have an aunt who, well, I guess she's like a family friend, but she's called aunt all the time. But anyway, she lives in Canada, and we visited her. She lives in Vancouver, and she, like, her backyard, like every day, at least 2 to 4 raccoons. Just like, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. So I can easily imagine this being influenced by that. So yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, you mentioned the other games he's worked on, and you're completely right. They're quite different from Donut County, but they're also fairly different from each other. Like, they're not. He's not just doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is honestly quite impressive. Very impressive.
Agreed.
And before we go forward, I'm going to mention like some. You talked a little bit about like him about the whole.io, which is what inspired it and so on. And an interesting tidbit about the, can you copyright a mechanic? And there's been a lot of discussion. You've probably heard about the classic one about Konami, who patented the having mini games on loading screens.
Yeah.
So have mini game. And then you probably heard about the Nemesis system, which was copyrighted by Warner Bros. And like, yeah, it happens, and it's always a little bit of a shame. Like, come on. Could you imagine the world where all the long loading screens would actually be a mini game? Life would be, well, I don't know if it would be better, but it'd be more interesting and less boring anyway.
I played a lot of like Google Chrome dinosaur game waiting for the internet to actually load. Like, I would say from my own experience that it does make life a little less frustrating to be able to play something while you're waiting.
That's a fair point. I use Opera. Opera has, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna say it's a better no internet game than the Chrome's Rex game. So it's like you fly a spaceship in this very simple circle, and you gotta shoot these things that come against and avoid things. It's deep. But we can talk about the meta of that game another day. But yeah, so you mentioned Toll.io, which is kind of I don't know if it's the influence of the game or how it exactly goes, but obviously you can see that there's something there. But I feel like there's other games that are similar to this, not exactly mechanically, but kind of like the vibe. And the two I think the most, at least from my experience, Katamari and what's the full name? Katamari
Damacy, yes.
Yeah.
Which was actually an inspiration for Donut County.
That's it.
So there we go.
Yes.
That one, and then Untitled Goose Game. Because they both kind of are about wreaking havoc, and especially in Goose Game, I feel like the goose has the same vibe as the
Yeah.
raccoon in the game. Like very much, sort of like peace was never an option, kind of a vibe.
And there's
I-
also definitely. Oh, sorry.
no, yeah, go on.
There's also definitely a graphical similarity between the Goose Game and Donut County.
That is
like
true.
now that I'm thinking about it, absolutely. Like, I don't think they have anything to do with each other specifically. Like, as a Karamari Damacy was definitely an inspiration, or like it's a very similar mechanic at least. But it's funny that these two games have a very similar vibe and a similar art style. That feels like too much of a coincidence. I don't know.
I will
I'm
say,
gonna leave it up to the chat.
Yeah. Like I think I think it's House who made Untitled Goose Game, and I would be surprised if not at least one or two of them have played Donut Count, because it's like you said, it's a bit too much of a coincidence. But yeah, so I guess we could kind of first of all, before we start talking about our thoughts and what our thoughts are about it, I guess explain the game a little bit. So, in its simplest form, it's a super simple game. You control a little hole. Starts small. The more things you suck in, the bigger it gets, and then you can just you start getting little pebbles or whatever, or tiny grass or something. Yeah, exactly. And then you get bigger, and then you get things. In the end, you're just taking apartment buildings. Yeah. It gets out of hand, and it's quite. It's a very simple mechanic, but it's a fun mechanic.
It is.
And on top of that, there's some story, not story with a capital S, but a story, and one that I had a couple of laughs with. So
Honestly, I really liked the story. It was very simple, but it was very humorous. There was a lot of good banter and I felt it was quite well written. So I giggled playing it. At least
I definitely had some laughs. When I say a story without a capital S, I mean it maybe sounded negative. I meant that they didn't try to make too big of an epic story. It was a story that fit the game mechanic and the world perfectly. It was very good. And yeah, I had. Do you want to add anything about the description of the game? Do you think that's enough? That's good.
I mean,
you're moving a hole around, and then you're using it to solve puzzles by, getting different items like a catapult and stuff. So the things that you swallow can be used in the catapult to solve the different puzzles. Or the different things you swallow, there was a snake as well, which it can be used to move things, push buttons, things like that. So you have to also combine different things, because there's the water element where you get water in the hole, and then you use that water to solve different puzzles. So no, I mean there's a lot of. It isn't just a hole that swallows things. It is a little bit more than that, but and needed to solve the puzzles of the game.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking, I wasn't sure how deep one but then again, I don't know if you can spoil the game by explaining the mechanics. As long as we don't spoil the story, I think it's okay to talk about the mechanics. Yeah.
That's the funny thing as well. It doesn't feel spoilable, because it doesn't take that much, brain power to understand the story. It doesn't take that much brain power to understand the mechanics. So you don't get that deep. It doesn't outstay its welcome. Yeah. Neither the story nor the mechanics. It's a good fitting vibe between the two.
I really agree with that, because I'm not a player of puzzle games. I don't play a lot of puzzle games, and so when I went into this game, I was a little worried that, am I really going to be good at this? Am I going to have to look up online how to solve these puzzles? And I'm a little nervous about that, but I didn't have to. I mean, there was one point where I had to figure things out a little bit from online, but mostly it was pretty understandable. It was and there was a really nice build up to it. I mean, there's no tutorial per se, but there is a tutorial. The whole game is a tutorial towards the end, because each puzzle starts building more and more in each scene that you create. So no, I really enjoyed
I think that's a good sign. The sign of a good puzzle game, when the whole game is a tutorial. The classic line about Portal, if you played Portal, is that the whole game is a tutorial. And it's true, and it means it's a good game, because then otherwise it would get boring if it's just the same thing all the time. So yeah, for sure. So also I gotta say I did like that there were like these little things in between, like the phone, like you sent these messages and you had like it broke it down a little bit. Like it's not just a story where you wait for the dialogue, you get to do something. I made me wish that my phone would have a honk button because I quite enjoy it.
it's a good button.
Yeah.
I want
You have to explain what the honk button is.
It's just like, so you have this. That's a good point. Thank you. So when you're talking with a person on the phone, like you're sending text messages, so you get a message, and you have essentially two buttons. Like you can reply, or there's this picture.
I just realized Discord added you can react.
That was a perfect reaction. So yeah, there's like a honk button. You press it, and then it sends a honk, and then the person usually responds with a honk, and they can just honk as much as you want. And when we spoke about Untitled Goose Game, one of the beauties of Untitled Goose Game is that it has a honk button, and it's not just a honk button. You can scare people with it, and I think if you played Stray, it has a meow button, and I feel like if you like, we need more buttons that make noises, and that was really nice. But yeah, I think it. Kim said well that it doesn't overstay its welcome because the mechanics kind of evolve all the time. Like Sylvia mentioned that it is a tutorial all the time, and it gets, but it doesn't try to get too convoluted. Like it stays pretty true with the whole. Like you suck in the water, it means that you can't suck things in. You have to do something else with it or get rid of it, or you add fire so it becomes hot and blah 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 blah. Like it doesn't get like crazy weird, which sometimes with puzzle games.
Yeah, it stays interesting. Like there's always something new that you have to like figure out. Like I don't know, you have to do the water thing. Let's stick with that so we don't spoil too many mechanics. Because I like playing like point and click adventures, like Monkey Island. Those games, those are convoluted. Like those are not very like you can't figure it. Oh, so like take this glue and put it on a tree, and then it's gonna catch this flying bird, and then you take that glued up bird and you stick it on the ship, and then you can talk to the bird because you can talk to the shop. Like it just goes crazy.
Yeah, that's very true.
So like I sometimes when I play puzzle games, I get frustrated, like really frustrated because I'm trying to figure out the answer. With this game, I felt just like, oh, I'm figuring it out. I'm moving on. And it was kind of like calming in a way to play a puzzle game like that.
It's actually interesting because I feel so. You mentioned these puzzle games that are point and click, so they're always a little bit. You're completely right. They're very convoluted, and I think that the common theme about these games that just work, just click, is that they're physics puzzles, and everybody understands physics to a certain degree. Like, if you drop something, it'll fall, or if you put some momentum, it'll fly a little, and that's what Portal is. It's a physics puzzle. Angry Birds, you mentioned. I never thought about it as a puzzle game, but like it is a puzzle game. Like every level is like, how are you going to solve this? And with pretty simple bird physics, but still physics. And the same here. You gotta use physics to get the stuff to happen, and I think that's easy to like kind of grok on. Like it just makes more sense than what you said, that one person is like, yeah, I mean, of course you're gonna glue a bird. What? Yeah, that's obvious. And everyone else is like, what? So speaking of the new Monkey Island, it's very good about that. It has very interesting ways of getting around that kind of stuff.
Oh, thank God.
It's not as bad to begin with, but also it acknowledges this issue and has a way around it, which is nice. I would recommend it if you're interested in pretty funny writing. About the game, last thing I would say before we can just talk about our thoughts and like how our experience is, I would say that it is not maybe the most replayable game. I don't think it has a lot of replay value, and that's not a bad, like not every game that has to have it. Like I think the only one, I think this game, Viv, our producer, which I actually forgot to mention in the beginning. Hello Viv, nice that you're here and making everything work. We love you. So she mentioned that this replay value comes from hunting achievements, and I guess that is a sort of replay value, but it's not maybe what most people think of when you say replay value.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. Because if you do the puzzles once, you've basically done them 100 times. Because it's not complex enough that you'll forget the next time you play. I don't think. Because I blazed through it And I have played it before. I played it like 3 times before I played it for this stream and for our conversation. And I was happy to come back and play them anyway because it's like a cute little game. But
Yeah.
the first time was definitely the best, just because I didn't know what to do, and it took way longer time the first time.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I actually had a replay issue, or I had to replay because there was no cross save, which was annoying. So I started my PC, then I moved to my Xbox, and I was like, "What is this bullshit? 2022 and there's no cross save? Get out of here!" So I had to play the beginning, like the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes again. But this time I played with a friend, and it was a very different experience playing with a friend than just on your own, and it made it actually a lot more fun. She played most of it because, well, she started playing because I played the first one, but then she got hang of it, so I didn't end up playing as much myself, but I was there. I was in the, I was part of the experience. But yeah, so do we want to like start with just sort of like
Well, I actually wanted to mention something before we move on, because when we're talking about the replayability thing, I think one of the things that makes this game really great for me, as someone who's not an achievement hunter and someone who often fails at playing games, loves playing games, but often makes mistakes, and especially in puzzle games, one of the things that struck me about this game when I was playing is that even if you make a mistake, it doesn't stop you from progressing, because there's always a way to get back what you need to continue what the level that you're on. So like if you do things in the wrong order, it doesn't hurt you. There's always a way to go back, a very easy way to go back without having to take too long and make you restart everything. So that was one of the positive things for me, at least from my experience of playing this game, was that it was very easy to fix my mistakes when I did make a mistake. That was just something I wanted to mention because when I did play, it immediately shone to me as someone who fails very often at games. I really lose patience so much. Like there's so many games I've just rage quit, and not rage quit because I'm not angry, but I'm just like, I can't be asked because fixing this mistake that I made is going to take too long, or it's too complicated. And so, but this game was really nice in that way. It didn't give me that feeling at all.
It's very soft in that way that there's no game over.
Yeah.
Well, I guess at the end, technically you can game over, but that's at the end. So you have the whole experience not worrying about it. I like that too.
Yeah. No, it's a very chill game. Like it's almost so chill that if I play it too late in the evening, I'll start to kind of like.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Like which means it's really chill, really nice. So I like from the art style, from the game mechanics to the music to the vibe, like everything about it is very, very sort of chill. Which I feel like this game, or these sort of games, kind of need. I'm thinking like Portal. Portal is kind of chill. Like it's not so hectic, but it has a more sinister vibe.
It does have sentries. Like it has guns shooting you, and like it does have you die quite a lot. Like, or I die, I guess. Like jumping into water, and then there's like laser beams. There's ways to die all the time.
That is true. Like it is not as chill as this, but my memory of Portal is just like being in this room and like, okay, what am I doing? What should I do? And then I guess.
Oh yeah.
Portal is dying constantly. I liked the game, don't get me wrong, but I got frustrated and had to like Google how to solve some of these puzzles, because that one, honestly, I understand the love for this game. I loved the humor for Portal, that is. But man, I died so much in that game.
Fair enough. So I guess that provides a little bit,
I'll agree with that. It starts out acting as if it's going to be very chill, because you start out in Portal in that little containment room, and you're just listening to the radio and you're playing with physics objects, and then you get to go to a room where there's like a super simple puzzle, and then it just kind of extracts all of the gentleness from there and makes it more and more uncomfortable. Spoiler alert for Portal, by the way. I guess it was like a 15-year-old game.
Yeah.
But it just gets more and more like not nice to you. as the game progresses. But I do feel like whenever I boot up Portal, because I love that game, I like the first room is definitely just like a chill vibe. And I do want a Portal game that is just a chill vibe throughout. Like, I'd love that. I would
Just
love it.
playing with GLaDOS, why not?
Yeah, like, come on, GLaDOS, let's hang out. Let's have pizza.
I want a game where I am GLaDOS, okay? I want to like make weird stuff for some.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
would be interesting.
Oh,
Now we're thinking. Don't steal it. Wherever you are, camera here. Hi. That's
Valve,
our
no.
game.
I guess
Moving
it
on.
does, I guess it does get a little like the vibe gets weird when you notice that everybody is gone and the place has been abandoned and like spoilers, like we said, for a very old game. If you haven't played it, you probably should. It's probably almost free at this point. How did we? Oh, right, because it was chill. Yeah. Well, okay, but
That's
okay. So yeah, this was interesting. So we had kind of different. We all like Portal, but like different vibes. But Donut County, we all agree, very chill, very nice. So that was.
The story, like that's where we can segue into like naturally, like it's like we just talked about like how Portal starts out chill and then isn't, but the fact that Donor County continually has like a very nice story where you're like constantly getting these positive messages, even though there's like some conflict and everything. And like, ooh, so let's talk about that for a little bit. Does anyone have anywhere to start?
I was just gonna say that raccoon, an asshole, but a lovable asshole.
I was thinking the same. Like, oh man, I want this raccoon. I want to take this raccoon home. Asshole, but
Not let it touch anything. Just have it there.
yeah.
Well, so like let's start there then. So because the game starts out with like the conversation, right, between the girl and the raccoon. I don't remember what her name is. I should know that, but whatever.
Mira, and BK.
Something like that, yeah. So I've never been really sure of who you are, but I think that's the idea is that the protagonist is, or antagonist somehow, is the raccoon, right? BK. Because BK is driving the hole.
Yeah.
And so that's the story, is BK is driving holes around the city. And then chaos happens. But I didn't realize until pretty recently that like you're supposed to be the raccoon. Like you are the raccoon. So I guess we're just dissing ourselves right now.
We're all the trash pandas in our own life.
Yeah. I love being a trash panda. It's fantastic because I do relate a little bit to BK. Like he just wants some cool stuff. He just wants to help out, and it goes bad sometimes, and he has to, you know, deal with that.
To help out is a little.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you sure he really wants to help out? Really?
Yeah.
People are ordering holes, and he's supplying holes, and then he's getting some upgrades.
No,
like
I don't think people ordered holes as much as donuts, and then they were like, "What?" But
well. Maybe it's a little confusing if you're a raccoon and people are ordering donuts and like what's the difference, you know? What's a donut without a hole? Wasn't that the stream name? Come on.
That is a fair point. Yeah, but I also like pretty much all the characters where like I like the salt and pepper, like they were great and like they were just like a lot of fun. What was the Croco? Choco, the Croco? Like, you know, there was like a bunch of really nice characters. It was kind of you know, like I could see these characters being in a children's show or film or game, but like it wasn't being, you know, patronizing or anything. It was just like they were just the people there, and it fit the world and everything. It was I quite enjoyed them.
Though I don't think it would work on a children's show because they were insulting the trash panda constantly. I mean, there was constant shade being thrown by everyone at everyone, and I love that. I love that kind of banter.
That is true. There was a fair amount of that until it started turning, and BK was like, "Yeah, I was actually helping him." People were like, It was. So okay, Sylvia, did you play on your own?
Yeah, I played on my own on the Switch.
Kim, you played this 3 times. Have you played on your own every time?
Yeah, and I played this time. I played on my phone. It's funny that we all played on different devices, actually.
Oh right, yeah, because on the phone,
Yeah.
Sylvia,
It was Switch.
Switch, yes, and then I had a PC and an Xbox. So hey, we covered almost everything. Nice, look at us. Was it how good on the phone?
I'll say this. It's fine on the phone. It's definitely because it's a short game. You can definitely just hold your phone and play it for the whole story, finish it. But it doesn't really add much for me. There is some sort of tactility to like moving your thumb and seeing the hole move as well. But it's not one-to-one, so you don't have to move where the hole is. You can actually just hold wherever.
It would be cooler, kind of maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you can do that, but sometimes if you like slip a little bit, it's gonna be off. So, but it makes sense because if you move the hole, it's gonna suck up everything between, so it wouldn't work. But it wasn't quite what I expected it to be. But it's fine on mobile. I think it's definitely worth playing on mobile.
The first time I ran into it was on mobile. My friend played it actually on mobile and talked about it, and for some reason I didn't listen to him and didn't play it then. I don't know why, but like, well, okay, you know.
Is he bad?
Now I've done it.
So I don't think that like it's gonna matter which platform you play it on, because you're gonna play it for like the story and the world and just looking at all the different weird items that you're picking up, like shooting fireworks and everything. Like it doesn't matter if you're holding a Switch or if you're holding an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
You're gonna be immersed somehow in at least one of the characters. I think like my favorite character is probably the coyote, who's in the tent and then always just sticks his head out. It's such a cute character, and like there is. The characters are unique enough, and you interact with them a little bit. You at least get to know something about them. That I think that's mainly what you're going to be caring about.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was not expecting story so much. Sorry, Sylvia?
No. Please continue.
Okay. I wasn't expecting as much story. I was expecting it to be more of okay, let's go boom, 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 and then just, you know, maybe some one-liners here or there. But like, I was not expecting as much of a story as it had, and it was actually, yeah, like we said, like a good story, an entertaining story. But I will say, okay, first of all, PC version I think is because you just use the mouse, like it's okay. I feel like the controller or the phone probably actually is better for this. Like it feels more fun. And then when I played it on my own, I was entertained. Like I was like, yeah, this is all right. But playing with my friend, it was. I think that what made the game like so good, because it's kind of like if you watch Monty Python on your own. Like it's good, but you like if you have other people to just share the nonsense with, it's just so much better. And I think like this game for me at least worked so much better with having a friend there that we could like just like be like what, and just like look at each other, be like what, and then just laugh. And it was like that's what really made the game. Like it was, and like yeah, I don't know. It just really worked better that way. And it almost made me wish, I know it doesn't make sense, but almost made me wish for a co-op mode. Like where you could be like two holes and when you go together you're bigger or something, I don't know. But like almost made me wish for something like that.
Dude, I would love that. Or just like if you could just could have two holes that just are the same size.
Yeah.
It would that would be absurd though. Like it's absurd enough as it is with everything you're picking up, and like some of the puzzles are a little bit like kooky. I don't know. Like it's not really like, it doesn't make sense. It's like sci-fi space logic, but that's kind of the fun of it as well. I understand why you like playing it with a friend. That like absurd factor that you just sitting there going like, oh, what is going on right now? I should try that.
Yeah, I definitely like this was okay. So it's no secret that things shared with friends are like better or more fun or anything. But it's kind of like the old thing, like okay, it's like an okay game, but if you play with your friend, it's fun. It's like, well, no shit, like what? Of course it is. It's your friends. It always makes it better. But it just surprised me how much it made it more sort of like made you appreciate the absurdity and the humor of the game a lot more, and being someone also watching the game a lot was kind of fun, and it's kind of so okay. If you've ever watched someone play a puzzle game you played before, it's often a little frustrating. You're like, no, meant to go that. What you know that? What are you? But this was just like fun to watch when people like it's like Sylvia said, you can't really screw it up. You can't really go wrong. Even if you do the wrong order, it doesn't really matter. So it's just like everyone will get there. It might go a little different route, but you'll get there. It was a puzzle game that was fun to watch someone else play, which is not always the case.
But the world's also like really nicely designed, because in some places you have to like do one thing and then you move on to a different area and do a different thing. In other levels, it's like the same area, but you're like stepping up the absurdity by doing certain actions. And like, my favorite level is probably the one where you have to cook, and there's like cockroaches coming over. Like, yeah, it's so absurd. It's fantastic. Yeah, you have to look at the recipe and things. Like, all of a sudden, it's a cooking game, but they only do it for that one scene, and it's like.
I'd like to go in using that scene as a comment on my Switch review, because I played it on the Switch, and as you mentioned on the console, I'm not really a console player. I'm always a PC player. So for me, I honestly felt I wasn't always in control when I had it, because like it would sometimes the movements would be too big. So when there were small little movements that I had to avoid, like when you I don't know if that's a spoiler, but when you have to take the car into the hole and the hole is very small, like I couldn't move it properly. Like the joystick was a little difficult to try and get, so I had to constantly do it over and over again. So like on the Switch, it was fine. It was smooth for the most part. But when there are little small movements that you have to make, it was a little tricky for me. And one of the things that I just wanted to mention as a side thing, I don't know if this was on mobile as well, but you can't get achievements on the Switch.
Yeah, there's no achievements on the mobile either.
There's no achievements on
mobile.
Nintendo
doesn't have achievements.
Okay, so I guess it's just PC.
Xbox had, and I think if it's on PlayStation, probably there. Well, okay, no, actually, PC doesn't have achievements.
The achievements are only for console?
It's on Steam.
Okay. Yeah, so I played it through Game Pass because it's there. So I played it on my PC, no achievements there. If I play on my Xbox, I have the achievements. So that was a little weird. I don't know why. So I googled if it's a problem, but like they're like, yeah, it's no. There's just no. The PC doesn't support them unless you do it through Steam. Then there's the Steam achievements. But yeah.
So just to bring it back, sorry, the reason I brought it up after what Kim was mentioning was that I felt when I was playing on the Switch that, especially that scene where you're doing the soup and you have to it's timed, so you have to move it at a certain time, and then there are cockroaches that are trying to eat your soup and you can't let them touch the soup, right? So you're just moving around frantically, and sometimes my cursor, or no, not a cursor, the hole would just move a lot more when I was in a more of a stressed situation, as you can imagine. But also, so it wasn't perfect on Switch, but it was really well. It was good, and it didn't stop me from playing the game. I just had to do it a few extra times because I wasn't that great at it.
That's fair.
I'm sure people that have a lot more experience playing on the Switch would have no problem, or on console would have no problem, because I use my Switch mainly for Animal Crossing and things like that, so it's a little different.
It is a little different, but I wonder because like the Joy-Cons on the Switch they're smaller than on a regular gamepad, so I wonder if that's maybe part of it, because if it's a little bigger, there's the movements arcs are a little bigger. Maybe that's I don't know. But yeah, this is not the first game I've heard this same comment about a Switch game, or like a game that is on others as well. So yeah, fair enough. Interesting. Did you try if the Switch supports the touchscreen?
I did not try that.
Okay, that would be interesting to see if like it.
Do you want to try that right now?
Can you try that now?
I can, I guess.
I'm super curious.
Yeah, me too. Let's go. Let's go, I say.
Then I want to talk about like the achievements a little bit, but we'll do this first because this is way more important.
This is
This
very
is
important.
science.
This is why we're here, honestly.
But
Yeah.
but like you can't see my screen. Like how are
No,
you?
but you can try it. You can see if it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, hold it up. Let us see the game. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't.
Whoa.
But like you're
Yeah.
seeing a reflection of my screen now.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, let's go.
But give it a little
Let's do-
try.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, my chair is creaking.
Okay.
Can you see?
We can see. Sort of.
Are you gonna have to go through the whole cutscene as well, or?
Yeah, we see.
But now
Okay.
it's
Yeah. Hop on that.
Okay, so yeah, you just have to tap instead of pressing A button.
Yeah.
It seems like it should work, right?
Yeah, I imagine so. Let's go. I think I need to try
Oh,
this
there's a
on
lot of
the
competition. But...
Yeah, this is
Oh,
the.
there's the honk button. Honk.
Where's the
honk,
honk
honk.
button? I'm honking. Okay.
So now that we're honking, I'll mention that on Steam there's an achievement for honking. It's what they say here, but it's obviously honking. They're wrong. We have to honk 100 times and you get an achievement. I think I did that the first time I played the first level.
Like, you knew about the achievement or by accident?
By accident, because I was just sitting there honking. Well, it's the first.
Our phones need a honk button.
Honking.
Yes, no, but like the first time I played this, I was going through some shit, so I was just sitting there honking. Like I didn't play the game to get myself a little bit like back in the mood of being like out and about and stuff like that, just like kind of decompressing. And so I was just literally honking myself to the happiness. Does it work?
Yeah, I saw.
It's
Oh,
moving the curtains, but
It doesn't work that great.
okay, that's weird. Okay, it moves them. Oh, there we go.
now we go.
Yeah, let's see the. Okay, we're on the cusp
So
of
you're
great.
you're the hole. So let's see.
Ah,
Oh, but it's hard to see because like you.
But do you have to hold on the hole, or can you hold
Yeah.
anywhere on the screen?
can you click
Oh,
somewhere
you
else?
can hold. Okay, yeah, you can.
Because
hold
then it's
anywhere
the
on
exact
screen.
same as mobile.
Yeah.
Okay, then
That
yeah,
would
then
make
it's the
sense.
same as mobile. Sorry, I can't see anything. So
Would that be easier to play than on the with the? Because then you can
well,
make.
I didn't know it. I didn't even think about it when I was playing. So what do we mean?
But then Switch might be the best platform for it if you can
Yeah,
choose
yeah, both.
between. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's true.
interesting. Well, glad we did science.
Yes.
Yep.
Well
there,
done us.
we
I'm
tried it.
proud of us. Okay.
Oh, he's trying to go into the hole, but he's not quite. He was trying, but anyways, yes.
This is good. This was good science. I'm proud of us.
This is obviously off-track stream.
Yeah.
Totally planned. It was yes. We have various timetables and plans for all of these streams. But yeah. So I guess I think we have sort of like final thoughts. Well, okay, I will quickly say that what I did like that the game isn't super long. Like it was. I don't know. Okay, howlongtobeat.com says it's above 2 hours, and I think that's not wrong.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more, but about approximately a couple of hours. It's one of those, one evening games, or if you're on a phone, maybe you do one level on a bus trip or whatever. Like it can be a little bit longer. But so was it actually about the phone game? Like did it have like in-app purchases, or was it a premium game? Did you pay for it, or how did it work?
Yeah, just a premium game. Like there's a ton of premium games on mobile. So it's just a direct port, and it just works. Like
The reason why I'm asking is because Dream Daddy was not. It was a free-to-play game, but they kind of limited how much you can do per day. So that's why I was interested in like if it could have like some sort of something like that.
Yeah. No, it's the exactly same game. I don't know exactly how much I pay for it, but it probably costs exactly the same as on other platforms.
Also, I could easily imagine BK come on the screen and be like, "Yo, pay me money, give me."
And if he did, I might even give in to it. I mean,
Yeah.
if he honked at me, I mean, I'd be a little bit, maybe.
Imagine like 1 cent for each honk. That would be.
Oh no, that I would refuse. I would sue. I would totally sue.
To be fair, to be fair, your 100 honks would be like €1. I feel like that might be almost worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I bought this game twice, and I might buy it on the Switch as well. So that's 3. That's a lot of honks, honestly. I feel like I paid for them already.
That is fair. I mean, there's some games. There's like 2 games I can think that like I bought. I bought Beyond Good and Evil, I think 5 times, and Hades. Well, okay, me and my wife together we bought it 4 or 5 times. So yeah, there's just some games you end up buying a bunch of times, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but here we are.
Mine was Supreme Commander, because I bought it originally on disc, right? Way back when, because it's an old game.
Good old days,
And then
yeah.
I moved, and then I lost the disc, so I had to rebuy it on disc. And then I got a new PC that doesn't have a disc thing, and so I was like, oh shit, I have to buy it on Steam as well now. And it was just like, yeah, that was my 3 times. That's I think my max, not 5 or 6.
I was hoping they were like, yeah, then I bought it on CD, and then the CD doesn't work, so I bought it on Steam.
Sorry. When I say disc, I meant the CD. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair, makes sense.
I'm not that old, hell. As old as I might be.
I played with diskettes, okay? Like I'm that old.
You guys are very.
I'm that old.
Him. Watch
Him.
yourself.
Just messing with you guys.
Yeah, just because you have like fancy hair doesn't make you like immune.
Oh, now that you outed me, I have to reveal it on
You
stream.
have to, please. It was beautiful.
That's a dick move.
Before you go, I want to say, if people have watched this before, you probably remember Kim's beautiful Swedish golden locks that flowed with the wind like an elven whatever. But now we have a new, better, updated version of Kim. Please.
He's promised us this for the last 6 months, was it? He's been promising us this.
That is true, yes.
And now we've got it. He's a man of his word, that he is.
Oh my god, you're building this up so much.
Yeah.
But I did. No, what I promised was that I would do a wolf cut that was pink. So I did kind of break the promise. I will be completely honest. But let's just do it.
All right, let's do this.
Drum roll, please.
Woo!
Yay! Woo! Look at that hair! Woo!
I'll leave the cap off now. But yeah, so now I'm pink.
I think it's awesome. I love that
It is
hair.
really, yeah.
That is so cool.
Dude, I was so scared when I actually got it done. Like I did it and then went and washed out the paint or like the dye, and like didn't look at the mirror while I was walking to like put my watch on and whatever, and then I like turn around and there's just like pink, and I was like, what is going on?
It's also like when you do like red colors for your hair. Back when I had hair, I did dye it once or twice. In like the 18th century or something. I remember putting like red in there, and then you go when you have to wash it, and the first time there's like just so much red seeping out. You're like, oh my god, what's happening? I'm not dying, and then you're just like, it's fine.
Yeah, but that's why I like pink, because it doesn't feel like you're messing everything up and like bleeding from your scalp, or like blue that just looks like, oh, I'm in like nuclear wastewater right now. Pink just makes the water look a little soft.
Blue. Okay, so I had a friend in elementary school who dyed his hair blue, and it was cool for about a week, and then it was just like this sad, like slush gray for the rest, like for like I don't know 4 months or something before it like kind of started growing out. It was after that I was like, yeah, blue never. But then I lost my hair, so I didn't have to worry about it. It's all good.
The positive sides of it, right?
Exactly.
So shall we get back to the game?
Oh yeah, let's get back to the game.
Our final thoughts on everything.
Yes. Final thoughts. Let's go. Final thoughts round. Sylvia, let us know.
Okay. So my final thoughts on the game was I really, really liked this game. I am not, as I mentioned before, and I'm gonna reiterate it, I'm not very great at playing games. Like, so games that are super, super challenging are not the kind of games that I really love. I mean, like challenging in a way that's more like, you have to do a specific sequence to finish things in a very complicated and complex way. It's not my type of game, but this game was not that. It was humorous, it was quick to play, and it was easy to figure out the puzzles without being too easy, you know? And so for me, I really, really like this game, and I think I'd recommend it to anybody who's wondering about it, at least. That's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts.
Very fair. Also, if you do have Game Pass, you have no excuse because it's there. It doesn't cost you any extra. It's 2 hours of your life. 2 entertaining hours of your life. Go.
Yeah.
Tim?
Well, like, I don't have much more to add. Like, yeah, Sylvia said it pretty well. If you're into like quirky characters and you like kind of like, soft cartoony like art styles, this is both, right? And so that's a given already. You have to go play this game. And I'd also recommend it for like those evenings where you want to do something just kind of slow, like watch a movie or something, but you don't figure out what you want to watch. Because it's a 2-hour game. You can totally consider it as like a full-length movie and just sit down and experience it for a little while, especially with a friend apparently. But I've been picking it up. Like I've been traveling a lot, and I've just been going back and forth between playing Animal Crossing when I'm out and about, and then when I'm in the hotel room, I've actually gone back and played some Donut County because it's on my phone, and just like, yeah, it's neat, it's nice, it's very gentle. You don't have to put much effort into it. Like, I don't know, it's good. I love this game, but I don't know why either. It's just like, it's a good game. It's nice.
It's a feel-good game, so I kind of understand that. I think so. Sylvia played on a Switch and you played on the mobile. I think those are maybe the best forms in the sense. Well, also because thanks to our science, we realized there's 2 ways of playing on the Switch. Thank you for doing that, Sylvia. And
I feel like an idiot for not understanding or realizing that earlier, but okay.
So
But it
immersed.
was good science, so thanks for that. So like it made it even better. But I think those are the best versions because personally, I think this is maybe better if it's on your phone or on your Switch and you can play it like a little bit anywhere. Because I mostly agree with you guys. I think it is an entertaining game, but I only really found the real value of it when I play with my friend. When I was playing on my own, like I said, I thought it was okay. It was okay, but it was when I was playing on my own. I think I was like I wasn't. This is gonna sound negative, but it's not like overly negative. It's not negative at all. It's not.
You're
it
allowed
is
to diss it.
whatever. Sorry.
You're allowed to diss it. Like this is a review. You're allowed to say
Right.
exactly what you want.
But like, well, the problem is like I don't dislike it, but it made me realize on my own I would want to have a bit more game mechanics for the game, and it was. It wasn't like if it would have been the same thing, just the whole all the time, I would have gotten bored. But like they did do things with it, which helped a lot. It took a while before you got there. The first thing was you got the snakes, and then the snakes end this from coming from the hole, and you slap things. I was like, well, okay, but this is still kind of the same. And I was like, but then the story was sort of, and the characters were like, okay, but then when I play with my friend. I think who is watching actually. Yes, hi. She said hi there and put some trash panda emojis. Good emojis. So that was what really made it shine. But it kind of made me also think because I think Katamari and Goose Game have more mechanics than just this, and I think that Katamari kind of yeah. So.
There's more packed into it. Like it is a bigger game. There's more things you can do, but they do twists on it that are kind of change the mechanic as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It goes is definitely liked.
Yeah. And the thing is, it is 2 hours, so it doesn't like outstay its welcome. I didn't mind playing it, which I know isn't the highest of praise, but with a friend, very enjoyable. So, and this made me realize earlier when we talked about Dream Daddy, and we had we were going to talk about Boyfriend Dungeon, but then some people didn't play it. What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about either. No. But I realized maybe one of the reasons why I liked Boyfriend Dungeon more was because there was game mechanics that were intertwined with the story, and that made the story feel it felt like you're doing something for the story instead of the story just going forward. You do your thing, and then there's the story, and these are not like they have not a lot to do with each other, but when they're like intertwined, that's what I really enjoyed. Doesn't mean Dream Daddy was bad or this is bad, but maybe I should have played Dream Daddy with someone. Now that I think of it, maybe I'll try.
You think? But it's it's probably the same thing where like you can play Katamari instead if you want something a little bit more complex, or you play Donut Counter with a friend or alone, and you'll get three completely different experiences that are all centered around physics and like a little story.
Yeah.
But I guess what we came up to is that we're not going to work at IGN because we would probably give this game like 4 out of 5 donuts or something, like it, just because like we all experience it in a good way somehow. So let's not be reviewers full time, but we still said a bunch of cool stuff about it, like the fact that it is actually like a linear game that you can play, and it's not just expectation that you get from Hole.io, which just the whole mechanic, right?
Yeah.
They did something with the mechanic and actually put it into like a context that made it more fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm okay. The way I would summarize the game, it is like a donut. Like it's kind of sad when you're alone. It's more fun with a friend. That's what I'm gonna go. That's my professional.
Really? You like to share your donuts? I don't know about that, Hal.
Life is like a box of donuts.
A box of donuts. Okay.
It gets stolen by a raccoon. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I think
I want donuts now.
Yeah.
That's the review. I want donuts now.
Why didn't we should have bought some donuts for this?
Why didn't
we're
we
talking
have
about
donuts for this? Yeah.
That's on us, honestly. That was not good. We need to do better. We need to be better.
This is
I'm glazed. I'm totally glazed.
I don't know why you guys do. You have those? We call them like Berlin monk Berlin, the one with the pink glaze on it, and that's what you look like.
The Berlin thing that we have is like a donut hole and then filled with jam. So ours is not the same.
Okay, well, ours is just like a full-on bun with just like pink glazing all over it, and that's what Kim reminds me a lot of right now.
Yeah, I do feel like Simpsons donut, like really.
But to be fair, they're very sweet, and they're even sweeter inside. So I feel like it fits you.
Sure, that was a good smooth, man.
Really that felt a little awkward to me.
For once I was trying to be nice to Sweden. Okay. Of course, it's gonna feel awkward.
When did you ever get told to be nice to Sweden? Come on, Hal.
I wanted to try something else. I wanted to try something else. Okay, BK taught me that I can change.
Nice.
Okay, so
shall we end it on that note? BK taught us to change to be better.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Share your donuts with your friend.
For a closing note, because I know all of you watching seldom hear my voice, but as a closing note, what actually constitutes a donut? Can you answer the question in the title?
What constitutes a donut?
Because in the game, what is a donut without a hole? Yes.
It's a good question. It's a pretty a simple question.
Is there a donut without a hole?
No.
Well, the gem-filled donuts are still donuts, right? And they don't have a hole, so to say.
Yeah, because the Berlin thing that we have in Norway is technically a donut pastry with jam in the middle, so there's no hole.
Yeah, but like this might be a color. Like in Finnish, you do not call them donuts. A donut is a thing with a hole in it. Otherwise, it's something else. It's like a bun or a
donut dough. Even though the dough is donut.
Even if it's not, it don't matter.
Because we call it munk as well. If it's like a
yeah, we have the same munk, but like yeah. What's yours? Do you have any munk? Norway, come on.
Hey, watch yourself, Finland.
Okay,
It's
We
fine.
are
You guys can call it
before
done.
we start a
We
war
call everything
within the
done.
3 countries, maybe we should end it here. Y'all
Yes.
want to say
You're
goodbye?
starting to argue
Okay,
now.
Finland and Sweden for once agreeing on something. Okay.
Wait. If I do this, wait.
No,
we
it's
can do-
wrong. I don't.
No.
It's the
No,
wrong
no, it
direction
is
on
wrong.
stream.
Okay. There. Boom.
Hell,
Boom.
you're on the wrong side. Never mind.
Sorry, but like this is looking very fun. Shall we call it here? Because I think this is a good place to end things.
This is our peak. We're gonna go. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you, Sylvia, for being here. Thank you, Kim, for being here. Thank you, Viv, for being a wonderful producer, the voice from the heavens, and making everything work. Thank you, all you lovely people watching. Thank you for my friend for playing this game with me and watching the show. Take care, darlings. All the
Thank
best.
you so much.
Catch you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye. Oh, wait. Should we mention the next one about the teacher? Okay.
Bye-bye.
There'll be more stuff. Just, yeah, we'll know. Bye-bye.